Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Jennifer Tyrell, and I am the project manager for the ARC ORNL Summer High School Science Institute. You're going to hear from my groups a little bit later. All right, it's time to begin with our opening remarks. I'd like to introduce Dr. Jim Vosburgh. He is the director for the Oak Ridge Institute of Science and Education, also known as ORISE. The ORISE program supports the Department of Energy in areas such as workforce development, scientific peer review, independent environmental assessment, worker health programs, and radiation emergency response, which you'll hear a little bit more about from one of my groups. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jim Vosburgh.
Good morning to all of you. Very exciting to see young faces in our facility here, and welcome all the family members also. Welcome to the final presentations and recognition ceremony for the Oak Ridge Science Academy and the ARC ORNL High School Summer Math Science Technology Institute. We're really pleased to take this opportunity to recognize the participating students and the teachers and to welcome their families. Mentors, officials from ARC headquarters, ARC state offices, and Oak Ridge National Laboratory. We really appreciate the value of our partnership with ARC and ORNL to provide these opportunities for students and teachers. This is the 27th year of the Summer Institute for high school teachers and students, and the 7th year for the Middle School Science Academy. Our common goals in both programs are to motivate students to continue their education and to pursue STEM-related careers. In an effort to extend the reach of these programs to students throughout the 13-state Appalachian region, high school teachers from the region are selected to participate in the Institute. This program expands the teachers' passions for teaching science, technology, engineering, and math by exposing them to cutting-edge research at our facilities that can be translated immediately to their classrooms. It's our pleasure to recognize their accomplishments tonight and to encourage you to continue your collaboration with ARC, ORNL, and ORU. I'd like to speak to the students in the class. We're counting on all of you students to be the future scientific and technical workforce for our nation. And the teachers, we're counting on you to continue to change the future of your students for many years to come. Thank you for all of your investments every day into the future workforce for our nation. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce David Keim, who is the Communication Director at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. As the Communication Director, Mr. Keim is responsible for internal and external communication, community relations, and all protocol visits for Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Mr. Keim holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from the Honors College at Ohio University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Keim to the stage.
Good morning. Is this working? We okay? So I'm the non-scientist in the room. Really glad to represent Oak Ridge National Lab. Want to acknowledge the scientists. Or do we have any of our researchers who have been able to get here yet this morning? Thank you very much for your participation. This is a really big deal for the laboratory to be able to partner with you to expose you to science, whether you're a student or a teacher. As a parent of a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old, I have a very immediate appreciation for the value of a good teacher and for the value of exposing young people to as many options as possible in their careers. So to students, for you to take your time to come here and get firsthand exposure to science, I hope has been extremely positive. And I hope that you have an interest in pursuing that. At the laboratory, we need a pipeline of young researchers who are enthusiastic and bright, among the brightest, and are going to bring that enthusiasm to bear on the problems that we're trying to solve to help the country. Oak Ridge National Lab is really diverse. We're the biggest multidisciplinary national lab in the country. We have supercomputers, we do biofuels, we do solar, we do materials research, additive manufacturing, national security, nuclear energy, neutrons. I'm going to forget something and make somebody upset, so I'll stop there. But the way science works is that we need new people with new ideas who are willing to pursue those passionately. And I hope that's you. We have internships that, as a student, you're going to be well positioned for because of the research experience you've had here. So please stay in touch with your research mentors and with us. And for you teachers who have taken time to come and take part, thank you. Again, with my kids at the age they are, the power of a good teacher is immediately evident. And the effect of a bad teacher is scary. We really appreciate what you do. Thank you for teaching. Thank you for putting up with the lack of respect that you often get, and with the bureaucracy, and with the frustration. I know that these children never misbehave, but I know there are some who do. Not my children either. But thank you for what you do. Never get discouraged that you're not influencing the future, as cliche as that sounds, because you are. You are. And we have researchers at the laboratory now who were students in this program. You absolutely make an effect on someone's life. I want to finish with a very brief story about where you've come for the last week or two, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to illustrate the importance of your creativity and your enthusiasm and your curiosity and your ability to work together. Oak Ridge, Tennessee didn't exist until science came along. It was forest and some patchy farmland and some small country communities. And some scientists in Europe and the United States were trying to figure out how the world works. And they were studying the periodic table of the elements. And they got to uranium, and they split that atom, and they realized it divides in two equal parts. It doesn't divide into a big part and a little part like all the other elements. And when it divides into two equal parts for some reason, it releases a lot of energy. And the scientists figured out that is an enormous source of energy, unlike coal or anything else that we've been using, which is great for electricity, but it's also powerful for war. And at the time, Adolf Hitler was trying to take over Europe. The scientists were getting scared. The scientists were leaving Germany, Austria, that part of Europe. And the scientists realized whoever figures out how to harness that power first is going to have an enormous advantage over everyone else in the world. And long story short, the scientists had to persuade the government, let us try to harness that power, to understand how to enrich the uranium isotope we need to release that kind of power, because we need to understand that and make that work before the bad guys. And they built Oak Ridge. And they built Oak Ridge with ORNL, which was the X-10 graphite reactor, and Y-12, which is the National Security Complex now, and K-25, which we just tore down. Because those three different sites needed to try three different ways of making bombs. making bomb material. Because they didn't understand the science well enough to know which one would work. So they did all three. And they had to do them at this massive scale. It was just a race. And they were figuring out as they went along. And at Los Alamos, they figured out how to make the bombs. And in Hanford, Washington, they figured out how to make the material that we studied at Oak Ridge National Lab. And as terrible as those weapons were, as terrible as any weapon of war is when it's used to kill people, it ended the war. It stopped many, many more deaths of American troops and arguably of people in general. And there hasn't been one used since, and we haven't seen death at that level since either. I'm not here to debate the merits or shortcomings of nuclear policy. What I'm saying is that as a scientist, and you all are scientists now, you're going to discover how the world works. You're going to discover better ways to do things. And with that discovery comes the power to do great good or great evil. And I hope that you'll try to use it for good. But you understand, before Oak Ridge was here, nobody even understood that potential, which became nuclear energy, which became nuclear medicine. My mother-in-law was just diagnosed with cancer. And so we're trying to figure out now her radiation treatments. She's going to see her grandchildren grow up more because of what the scientists discovered and developed at Oak Ridge. Glad that you've been here. I hope you'll stay in touch. I hope that you'll continue to pursue scientific discovery, and teachers, I hope that you will continue to be enthusiastic about teaching these kids, even when they don't understand the benefit of what you're doing, because we do, and we thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Earl Gohl, ARC Federal Co-Chair. He was unanimously confirmed as Federal Co-Chair of the Appalachian Regional Commission by the U.S. Senate on March 10, 2010. In his Senate confirmation hearing, Mr. Gohl stated that his objective as ARC Federal Chair would be to ensure that each federal dollar expended by the Commission was a, quote, investment in the economic future of Appalachian families that will generate a return for the American taxpayer. Mr. Gohl had 20 years of experience in Pennsylvania state and local government before joining the federal government. Prior to his appointment as the ARC Federal Co-Chair, Mr. Gohl served as a Special Assistant and Associate Assistant Secretary at the U.S. Department of Labor, and as Director of Government Relations, Deputy Director for the Puerto Rico Federal Affairs Administration. Mr. Gohl holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Rider College, which is Rider University now, in New Jersey, and a Master's in Public Administration from Pennsylvania State University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Earl Gohl.
Well, good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank all the teachers, the staff, the mentors, the counselors, all the folks who spent the last couple of weeks here at Oak Ridge working with the students. You've all contributed to the successes of this partnership between Oak Ridge and ARC, and it's just been, over the last, this short 27 years or so, it's been a great success. And we just want to express our appreciation, particularly to Maria and to Pi for their dedication and their willingness to put up with ARC in the way we do business. I also want to particularly call out Pat Fitzpatrick, who has been doing this work for a very long period of time. And she tells me she's going to retire. I mean, seriously, what's that about? So we're kind of expecting you back next year, too. We really appreciate that. It's also important to recognize the parents who are here today. And to thank you for trusting us with your most prized relationship and possession that you'll ever have for the last week or so. It really is, you honor us with that opportunity, and we hope that what we're sending home is our experiences that your children will cherish with you for a very long period of time. I also want to recognize the Appalachian Regional Commission really is a commission, and that it is the governors of the 13 states, and the president gets to appoint one person. And without the state engagement, there really is no commission. And we have with us two folks today, Kelly Chastain from Alabama, and Neil Cornett from hiding in the back from Hazard, Kentucky, who work in their respective state programs. The folks in the state offices are the men and women who go out and find the students. It's their responsibility, and if they don't do their job, we don't have much of a camp. But it's really because of their work and their efforts that you were able to make it here today. Now, you should know that, that I'm a experienced camper. I'm an experienced camp counselor. And I'm an experienced parent of a camper, actually more than one camper. And so that leads me to believe I kind of know what you're thinking. I kind of know what questions you guys have. You want to know who this guy is, how long is he going to drone on for. You're going to want to know when is lunch. And you're kind of thinking, when I get home tonight, can I ditch my parents? Can I go out and hang out with my friends? Well, first of all, my strategy always was to take home 3 really important nuggets and strategically drop those nuggets along the way for your parents. And they'll be so dazzled by what you're bringing home. It's a great cover for going out the back door. So that's my first suggestion on how to deal with that particular challenge. I have used it, and I've seen it used, and I can report back to you it is something that works pretty well. As for lunch, as soon as we do the last picture, the last certificate, it's right out the back door. But as to who I am, I'm the guy who, at the Appalachian Regional Commission, my job is to make sure that when we use federal funds, and that's all we use, because that's Congress, the United States Congress provides us money every year, that every dollar spent well, that nobody wastes money, that we do it in a way that is useful, that is a return on the investment, and that we can be proud of. And I get to do that because President Obama appointed me back in 2009 to represent him at the ARC. And that's what my job really is. It really is to make sure that the dollars that your mom and dad and grandparents send to the IRS every year, that that little bit portion that comes to the Appalachian Regional Commission is well spent. But to figure that out, to understand that, I need to ask a few questions. And since I'm a federal official, it's really important that you answer these questions truthfully. Because otherwise, it's actually a violation of federal law. So, and the quicker we get through these, the quicker lunch is. So my first question, can I see a show of hands of who had fun here? Okay, that's a pretty good number. That's really, can we show of hands of people who thought they made you work too hard? that the work was just too hard. Well, that's kind of good, because if that would have been the case, it would have been a violation of the federal child labor laws, and that is never a good thing. Having come from the Labor Department many years ago, that is just not a good thing. So who here would like to learn a little bit more about the subjects that you dealt with today? Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Now, if it meant that you could earn a boatload of money, how many of you would want to learn a ton more about this stuff? Okay, that's really good, because wanting to learn more is often called developing a passion. And learning a lot more about a subject is sometimes called going to college. And the hope of being paid a boatload of money is sometimes called a career. So it's really good to hear that this is kind of where you're thinking and where you're going with this, because it suggests that there's kind of a nugget out there, there's a kind of possibility out there of passion that can actually germinate, can really grow into a college degree and bloom into a career. Now, at the Appalachian Regional Commission, that's what we call an investment in the future. And it's why the past 27 years, we've used your moms and dads and grandparents' tax dollars to have this camp. Because part of our career, part of our passion, part of the work that we do is about planting those seeds throughout the 13 states of the Appalachian region. That's what our passion is. That's what our responsibility is. So to get a little bit of feedback that this is you're developing a passion, that we have these nuggets out there, that's us doing our job. Now, the bad news, there's homework. And again, I'm an official of the United States government. So you're going to need to do this. You're going to really need to do this. Otherwise, well, anyway. So, that nugget we talked about a minute ago that we planned this summer, your assignment, and your parents are going to need to help you on this, is to make sure you water that nugget, you give it sun, you pay attention to it, and you help it grow into a passion that can not only reward you with a boatload of money, but a lifetime of fulfilling, exciting, incredibly wonderful, challenging experiences. And if you do that, we've done our job. And that's the opportunity that we're here today to thank you for participating in, taking this opportunity, and taking these opportunities that we have. But really, I want to thank you guys for coming this summer. I hope you have a great summer. I hope you go home and have a greater summer for the rest of the summer. And it's so important that when you get back to school, remember this energy. Remember this moment. And every day you walk into school, take this energy with you and share it and use it and let it grow. Thanks so much.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Ramey, and I'm the project manager for the middle school program. And right now, we have got a couple dozen very, very excited middle school students that can't wait to share with you what they've learned. And so we're going to go ahead and get started with their presentations.
Hello, welcome to the Pollard Technology Conference Center. We are the solar group from the ARC-ORAU Science Academy. Our teachers are Mr. Brent Lee and Dr. Elaine Vaughn. I would like to introduce the individuals of our group. Caleb, Emma, Annabeth, Gavin, Zach, Sam, Austin, and Brianna. And finally, I am Emily McFarland from Virginia. I hope you enjoy our presentation, and now Annabeth is going to talk about our solar mascot.
At the beginning of the week, we learned about the wonders of 3D printing. We were given the task of creating a mascot for our group. At first, we insisted on making a phoenix. However, the STL file got corrupted during the process. After debating with the entire group, we concluded on a dragon. First, we downloaded the file containing the model. The model was not the right size for our content, so I resized it in the printer's CAD program. Once the printing process was over, we added Frederick to the solar family. Now back to Emily and PN Junctions.
Thank you. PN junctions are formed by joining N-type and P-type semiconductor materials. Since the N-type region has a high electron concentration and the P-type has a high hole concentration, electrons diffuse from the N-type side to the P-type side. When the P and N materials separated, they diffuse around randomly. When the materials are joined, the carriers cross into the other region. However, the fixed ion cores are left behind to set up an electric field. And Brianna, are you ready to tell us about series circuit?
Hello, my name is Brianna Carlisle from Alabama. I'm going to be talking about the series circuit today. A series circuit is when all the components in a series are connected with each other. The panels are placed positive connected with negative, not positive to positive or negative to negative, to transfer the electricity. In a series circuit, the volts add up and amps stay the same. When you multiply volts and amps together, your answer will be in watts. When series circuits and parallel circuits are used in solar panels, you get greater power output. And now for Gavin and parallel circuits.
My name is Gavin Donzilla from Wintersville, Ohio, and I'm going to teach you about parallel circuits. A parallel circuit is a circuit that has multiple places electricity exits. So if one place breaks, it can continue working. In a parallel circuit, volts stay the same and amps add. Some pros are parallel circuits more efficient than a series circuit because they have more places electricity exits. Some cons are you could not know if some part of the circuit broke. So in the end, parallel circuits are superior to series circuits. And now Zach will talk about the data we collected and analyzed from our solar panel testing. Zach.
Hello, I'm Zach Christie from South Carolina. This week we've been testing different ways to wire circuits with solar panels. We recorded the voltage and the amps of each test, and afterwards we calculated the watts. We each had a solar panel of our own to test with. We tested our solar panels under one 150-watt light, and here are our results. After the individual tests, we split up into two groups. Group 1 had 4 members, and Group 2 had 5 members. We calculated how much watts we would get if we linked the solar panels up in series circuit. We tested under 2 150-watt lights. Finally, we all got together and wired a 3x3 series and parallel circuit. In addition, we tried to connect a 5-panel series circuit and a 4-panel series circuit. It was extremely difficult to wire the two series together, but it didn't quite work out. Our test results were invalid. And now Austin will talk about the solar farm we visited this week.
Hi, my name is Austin Velez, and I live in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. My presentation is on solar farms. We visited a solar farm just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. It was on about 5 acres of land with 4,608 solar panels. This produces DC or direct current, which has to be transformed into AC or accelerated current to be sent up to the local area. I think that solar energy is the #1 source of electricity because it doesn't cause pollution. Lastly, solar energy is a great source of energy and should be used all over the world in the near future. Emma, would you like to tell us about the Living Lighthouse?
Hi, my name is Emma Walden, and I'm from Tennessee. One of our many trips this week was to Oak Ridge Children's Museum. At this facility was an amazing structure called the Living Lighthouse. The dwelling was powered in a fashion that is cleaner and more efficient than generic electricity. The Living Lighthouse was powered with solar energy. This abode harnessed that energy with solar panels. Even though this was a rather impressive structure, in the few years since the house's creation, technology had advanced to the point where it was ancient in comparison. The next speaker is Annabeth. She will be talking about the pros and cons of solar energy.
Hello, my name is Annabeth Sharp from Williamsburg, Kentucky. We already know that solar energy is an easy and efficient way to obtain energy. However, solar energy has its downfalls. I'm here to explain these pros and cons. One pro would be that solar energy is a clean and green and clean energy source. It does not produce any harmful gases. Solar energy is a sustainable energy source. As long as you have sunlight, you can have solar energy. Solar panels are low maintenance and very durable. You only have to wash them twice a year. And solar panels are silent. One con would be that the initial cost is quite high, but it is worth it in the long run. Another con could be that you can only produce energy during the day. When it is night, you cannot produce energy. Another con would be that some areas get more or less light, and also the climate is different in parts of the world. Knowing these facts, you can be more careful when deciding if solar power is right for you. Next, we have Sam explain the wonders of the worm gearbox. Take it away, Sam.
Hi, my name is Sam Matriciano from Mississippi. Now, in order to build our gearboxes, you had to rely heavily on the pictures because the instructions were in Japanese. There were other challenges as well. The directions were in black and white but mentioned specific color parts. It was frustrating and fun at the same time. The worm gear connected directly to the motor, which fed power into a series of gears to an output shaft, which would then turn something such as a tire on a vehicle. Now Caleb will tell you about our inventions.
Hi, my name is Caleb Marsh, and I am from New York. I'm 13 years old, and I have been attending the ORAU Summer Science Academy. For the solar group's assignment, we invented an electric resource using gears, a motor, and a solar panel. My partner Zach and I created a solar-powered car by connecting our motors together for the front wheels and the back wheels. Ambriana made a solar-powered boat by attaching 2 propellers to the end of her boat so it could move on the water. Annabeth and Emily made a solar-powered fan for hot, sunny days. They put their motor and fan into a PVC pipe and used a piece of plastic as a handle. They also put their solar panel on top of the pipe. Gavin made a helicopter by attaching his propeller to a styrofoam cup and putting his motor into the cup. Sam and Austin made an off-road vehicle called Doomsday by printing 3D wheels using 2 solar panels so it could absorb more sunlight, which would make it work better. Emma made a solar-powered home that limits energy loss, completed with a 3D printed bathtub. She put her solar panel on the roof. Her house has a solar-powered water heater, and the condensation from the water waters the plants. These were the solar-powered inventions of the solar group. We used some tools to make our inventions. Some tools were gloves, goggles, wood, plastic, tape, glue gun, and styrofoam.
Thank you all for taking the time to come to our presentation. We hope that you have enjoyed it and that you've learned a lot. We would also like to especially thank Mr. Robbie Thomas of Efficient Energy of Tennessee, Bucky Smith of Oak Ridge Children's Museum, and Dr. Elaine Vaughn and Brent Lee, our teachers. Thank you for giving us an opportunity and making this week unforgettable and very special. And now the WIN group will talk about their week.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Williams. I am from Akron, Alabama. Today I'm here to talk about the wind group and our goal for the week. Our goal for the week was to create a wind turbine that produces electricity. Also, another goal was for us to learn new things so that we can go back to our hometown and teach others about what we learned. One thing we might tell them is that wind is caused by when the land heats up, causing the warm air to rise, and then cold wind rushes in. Now my friend Jalen Gamble will tell you some more information that we will tell others in our hometown.
Hello, I'm Jalen Gamble from Williamsburg, Kentucky, and I'm going to be talking about the advantages and disadvantages of wind power. Here are some of the disadvantages of wind energy. Good wind sites are normally far away in remote locations. Most energy is needed in big cities. However, advancements in technology will allow the energy to be transported more effectively in the future. Another disadvantage of the wind turbines is that the land on which they will be built could be used for more profitable uses. According to some people, wind turbines may cause noise, shadows, affect wildlife, and make the area less attractive. I can tell you, having visited a wind turbine this week, the air conditioner in my hotel room made more noise. One of the major advantages of wind power is that it's sustainable. As long as the sun shines and the wind blows, we'll never run out of power. Perhaps the most important advantage of wind energy generation is that it's a clean fuel source. Wind energy does not pollute the air like power plants do. It's safer and cleaner for the environment. The most important to many communities is that wind power generation creates jobs. In 2014, the wind sector invested more than $80 billion of private capital in the U.S. economy to build projects and employed more than 73,000 workers. According to the Wind Vision report, wind has the potential to support more than 600,000 jobs in manufacturing, installation, maintenance, and supporting services in 2050. And now here's Abby.
Hi, my name is Abby Schaefer, and I'm from Cortland, New York. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the parts of a wind turbine. The blades are spun around by the wind, which creates energy. The pitch of the blade is important, and no, we're not talking about baseball pitches. The pitch is the angles of the blades. When you adjust the pitch of the blades, you adjust the speed at which it turns. The nacelle sits on top of the wind turbine and holds the gearbox, the low and high speed shafts, the generator, the controller, and the brake. The anemometer is a machine that measures the wind speed data. The wind vane indicates the direction of the wind and communicates with the yaw drive to orient the turbine properly. The gearbox is used to increase rotational speed from a low rotor to a high-speed electrical generator. Now here is Donovan, and he will talk to you about how these parts make energy.
Hello, I am Donovan Weathers from Winona, Mississippi, and I will be talking about the process that occurred in the cell to make electricity in a turbine. It all starts with the blades of the turbines, which collect the wind energy. The energy then spins the rotor to turn the low-speed shaft, which leads to the gearbox. The gearbox connects to the low-speed shaft to the high-speed shaft to speed up the RPM, or rotations per minute. Some turbines can reach shocking speeds of 1,000 to 1,800 rotations per minute. The rotations then travel along the high-speed shaft to the generator, which then creates the electric power. My buddy Jonah will tell you about our trip to Buffalo Mountain, where we saw real commercial turbines up close.
Hey, I'm Jonah Matheson from Mount Vision, New York, and I'm going to tell you about our trip to Buffalo Mountain, which was hosted by Mr. Carl Eierman of the Invenergy Corporation. While we were there, we got the chance to tour the wind farm on the top of the mountain, where most people do not have the opportunity to see the turbines up close like we did. The first thing we encountered was two workers rappelling off one of the turbines. The workers went onto the tower to fix and paint a blade after it hit the tower. Seeing this was the highlight of the visit. Once we went inside the turbine, we saw the ladder used to access the nacelle. We were also able to see machines used to tell people how much power is being produced. Mr. Carl then gave us a chance to ask many questions.
After the tour, we went back to the workshop where we got to see some of the tools used to repair the turbines. Now here's Xavier.
Hey, my name is Xavier Collins, and I'm talking about building our wind turbines today. First, we gathered all of our supplies and put the base together. Then we took them outside and painted with spray paint the color we wanted them. I painted mine orange and blue because I'm an Auburn fan, War Eagle. Next, we put the motor in. Then we were ready to make our blades. We made lots of different kinds of blades in corrugated plastic and most with balsa wood. We used box cutters to cut the wood and sandpaper to smoothen the edge to reduce drag. Now, here's my friend Ellie to talk about testing and blades and math.
Hello, my name is Ellie Harper from Frankfort, Ohio. I'm here today to talk all about the classroom testings and the calculations the wind group did. We came into the classroom ready to test our wind turbines. We had to set up our motor. Mark was a great help. We learned how to set up our blades, including make sure they were all the same pitch. My turbine created about 0.0078 watts. I mean 7.8 milliwatts. Lauren says it sounds better. We calculated the milliwatts, which is a unit of power, by multiplying the watts by 1,000. To find watts, you multiply voltage by the amperage. The last calculation we learned was volts squared divided by the resistance, and you get the watts. The classroom testing was fun, but I'm going to introduce my friend Charlie, who is going to talk to you about the wind tunnel.
Hi, I'm Charlie from Roaming Shores, Ohio. Yesterday we got to go test our wind turbines in an actual wind tunnel. We swapped out our blades when they broke, and we had the chance to test out 3 different types of blades which we had made ourselves in the classroom. We were measuring to see who could generate the most power. The person who generated the most power was Caitlin. And she generated 3.1 volts, which is equivalent to 9.61 milliwatts. We learned how to do this conversion as well as others earlier on in the week. In addition to this, we also learned how the wind tunnel works and what some of the components do. Our turbines held up very well in the wind tunnel. Most of the blades, though, were snapped, twisted, ejected, mangled, or ripped into pieces. We had a few wires that needed to be resoldered and a few gears that needed to be replaced, but everything was just a quick, easy fix. All of the turbines looked great and generated several volts of electricity, which was usually between 2 and 3 volts. And now Alicia will wrap up the presentation.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kakowski, and I'm from Liberty, South Carolina. This week was a very exhilarating and exciting week. It was a great experience to learn how much the wind turbines can help with saving the world from pollution. Throughout the week, we have met a bunch of interesting people. We would like to thank Carl Eierman for showing us around the wind turbine farm, Randy White and Don Dobsey, David Sin for showing us how to use the wind tunnel. A big thank you to Mr. Mark for driving our wind team around, and Miss Lauren for being a great teacher and showing us how the wind turbines work. Also, the trip has been a great opportunity to make new friends from all over the United States. Now for our good friends in biofuels.
Hello, my name is Hunter Jones. I'm from West Virginia, and I use soy oil to make my biofuel. A biofuel is a fuel derived directly from living matter. The 2 most common types of biofuels are ethanol and biodiesel, although not excluding the hydrogen fuel cell and electricity. In our case, we ran experiments on biodiesel. Biodiesel is a renewable, clean-burning diesel replacement that is reducing the need for the U.S. to import fuels. It is most commonly used as a mix of itself and typical petroleum diesel. It's made from a diverse mix of natural resources, including agricultural oils, recycled cooking oil, and animal fats. In our case, we tested 3 different agricultural oils consisting of soy, peanut, and corn. And most people don't know that biodiesel is relatively easy to make. Many people have chosen to mix the oils in their own backyards. And here are the samples of our biodiesel that we made. Corn is on this side. Peanut is in the middle, and soy is on the right. And with no further delay, Brandon Martin will introduce our procedure.
Hi, my name is Brandon Martin. I used corn oil to make my biodiesel. We started with pouring 75 milliliters of our oil into a graduated cylinder that was 100 milliliters that we could fit. Then we poured that into a separatory funnel. And then we added 20 milliliters of potassium hydroxide and then put that into the separatory funnel. Then we mixed it for 10 minutes and let it sit till there was a clear layer difference. Then we drained the glycerin. And then we added another 5 milliliters of potassium hydroxide. And then we drained the glycerin again. Then we did 2 water washes with 20 milliliters each. And here's Courtney.
My name is Courtney Phillips, and I'm from Virginia, and I made my biofuel out of peanut oil. The next step is to remove the bottom layer of waste into a beaker. Then place the biodiesel into a graduated cylinder. Place your biodiesel on a hot plate to evaporate the water and make sure to regulate the temperature. Finally, when the biodiesel becomes clear, let the fuel cool. When the fuel has cooled, now you have pure, clean biofuel. Now Emily will be talking to you.
My name is Emily Holloway, and I'm from South Carolina. I made my biodiesel out of peanut oil. We decided to burn some of our biodiesel, so we used 3 Petri dishes. They each had a wick inside the dish. We put distilled water in an erlenmeyer flask and hung them over the wicks, then lit them on fire. We measured the temperatures on computers with special software and tested them 3 different times. That was the end of our biodiesel experiment. As a little experiment, we made soap. It was made from the glycerin from our biodiesel. We mixed glycerin, fragrance oil, and sodium hydroxide, which we got from drain cleaner. We put them in silicone molds and let them sit overnight. The next day, we had found out that it had failed. The drain cleaner had chemicals that made a chemical reaction. So instead, we had solid soap. Instead, we had liquid soap instead of solid. This was a fun experiment that was really easy to do. Next speaking is Logan.
Hello, my name is Logan Cholsey. I'm from Jim Thorpe, PA, and I'm going to be analyzing the results from our energy output of the 3 different fuels. Starting out with soy. Soy only raised the temperature of the water by 27 degrees Celsius when it was ignited, and it was only in 3rd place. For peanut oil, 2nd place, it generated It raised the temperature of the peanut oil when ignited. Well, the processed peanut oil, when ignited, raised the temperature of the water by 43 degrees and gained 2nd place. And the group that I was in, corn oil, was in 1st place, generating a 50-degree change in the temperature of the water. And despite how much we messed it up in various steps, mainly generating, almost making soap. Just throwing that out there.
I'm Virginia Haverty from West Virginia, and I made biodiesel with peanut oil. My group went to the NTRC and the MDF. The NTRC is the National Transportation Research Center, which is the biggest science lab in the Department of Energy. The NTRC uses its research to research fuel economy, reducing emissions, and renewable fuel use. And this is the engine room where a lot of that research goes on. And then we went to the manufacturing demonstration facility where the AMY project was thought up and carried out. The AMY project is the first 2-way wireless charging system between a 3D printed car and house. The car and house were printed by, BAM, the biggest 3D printer I've ever seen. Also at MDF, we saw many more 3D printed objects and 3D printers, most of which were very complex. I don't know about anyone else in my group, but this trip was one of the most interesting out of all the ones we've taken in the past week. Thank you, and now Case Williams.
Hi, I'm Kason Sawyer from North Carolina, and I made my biodiesel from soy oil. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the pros and cons of using biodiesel. One disadvantage of biodiesel is, like its counterpart diesel, when it gets exposed to cold weather, it starts to turn into gel, messing up whatever machine it is currently in. Biofuels also produce less energy than petroleum-based fuels, requiring more biofuel to be used to produce the same amount of energy as petroleum oils. Using croplands to produce biofuels could potentially lead to food shortages, which in turn could lead to food prices increasing. On the flip side, biofuels produce pollutants that are released into the atmosphere. B20, for instance, can reduce the amount of hydrocarbons by 20% and carbon monoxide by 11%. Biodiesel is also a renewable fuel source, unlike petroleum oil. If you produce your own biofuel, you have the potential to save a ton of money. Biofuel can be created from a variety of materials, reducing the cost of transportation and making it easier to produce. The biofuel group would like to thank Scott Curran from NTRC and our teachers, Ms. Kayla and Ms. Marcel.
On behalf of the entire middle school program, we would like to thank Pi Mua, Marie Westphal, Kelly Ramey, ARC state representatives, Earl Gold, and Jeff Swartz. Thank you.